All right, guys, looks like we are live and recording. Hey, thanks so much. I only have a few plays in the first episode. I think it's a dozen plays, but to you dirty dozen that have watched or listened to the podcast episode 1, I appreciate it. It's freaking cool. Thanks for listening. So, the second episode is going to be the quick and dirty of nutrition. And I think the best place to film it, of course, was a Whataburger, so I can watch. I was hoping there'd be a big line of big trucks eating big meals here, but looks like it's not the dinner hour yet. That would be the perfect backdrop, but I'll try again. I'll do another one. Unrelated topic, so it's all good. You guys can watch this Whataburger. That's if you're not on the podcast listening, but if you're on the YouTube channel. So for you guys listening, I am recording this with eyes on a Whataburger. And I'll show my I didn't eat the Whataburger. Of course, in my life, I have eaten Whataburger. Not today. Today, I'm eating a fish, small amount of fish, and a spinach salad. It's pretty good. And if I'm hungry after that, I'll eat more. So let's get into it. So this is going to be quick and fast of eating, and I'll just get as much as I can out, like the basic bare bones. So if you're just looking for information, you can start with that. It'll take about less than 5 minutes from now. And then if you want to keep listening, I'll go into reasons why. And probably the most important thing before I say any of this information is that I am not a nutritionist. I am not a doctor, and I am not legally qualified or certified to give you any advice. And so I'm not giving you any advice. I don't know, I'm not qualified to give you advice. However, I'm going to share what's worked really well for me. I've been a little bit obsessed with this topic since the mid-90s, and I'm a little bit of I can be obsessive sometimes when I'm curious about a subject. So from roughly 93, 94, 95, I started working out, and I got really interested in all the sports nutrition things I could find. I think there used to be Nancy Clark's sports nutrition book, and I remember I think EAS was a big nutrition company. They were trying to sell a lot of supplements. They had a supplement book, and then I just started going to the library, all that stuff. So this is just, I've experimented with those different things, whether it's the Mediterranean type eating, slow carb, low carb, the zone diet, volumetrics, that's a really good one. Paleo. I've went vegan. I've eaten vegan before. What other kind of, many other diets. I've tried most, and I've also, of course, competed in making weight. I've also just done the, eat the bare minimum until you make the weight diet, which is not the best idea. But here we go. Again, not qualified, not nutritionist. Don't sue me. Don't die. If you die, don't blame me, right? So, quick things of nutrition. Big idea. If you're looking at macronutrients, you're looking at protein, fat, carbohydrates. I think everybody knows that. They're all important depending on what you're doing. But protein and fat are very essential because many of our hormones and transmitters are made from proteins and fat, and you just won't make it too long without protein and fat. Like that's your immune system, your many functions. Carbohydrates are themselves not necessarily essential, but a lot of times what makes the carbs we get essential is the package that we get them in. Like if you're eating an orange, you're getting carbohydrates, but you're getting vitamin C, fiber, potassium, etc. So carbs are not necessarily essential. I'm not an anti-carb guy whatsoever, but I'm just stating the fact that if you ate very little carbohydrate, it'd be very hard to eat zero carbohydrate. But even if you ate very little carbohydrate, it wouldn't cause the same sort of thing, the same sort of issues as if you skip all protein and fat. Like if you skip all protein and fat, you're gonna die. I don't think you're gonna live too well with no protein and no fat. Your body's gonna start breaking down your body to take protein and fat out of your self. All right, so those are your basic things. Oh, I jacked up the. There we go. Those are our basic macronutrients. Micronutrients are vitamins, and I'm not even getting into it. They're all important. Everything is essential. That's needed, and so of course, the best thing is you need to eat a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. The reason is different colored vegetables and fruits that grow in different places have different minerals, vitamins, etc. So it's important. So let's get right into it. The simplest way is this. You're just going to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you want to make sure you have protein and fat at each meal. If you need a guide in that, breakfast is going to be high in protein and fat. It could be lower in carbs. It could be higher in carbs. It's up to you in that, based on your activity level, right? If you're very lean and very active, you have more carbs. If you're you have extra fat and you're not very active, either of those conditions are going to lead you towards less carbohydrate. So carbs are kind of come and go as you need to. A good idea for lunch would be to have high protein, moderate fat carbohydrates. So again, that's a breakfast, lunch, and dinner tends to be high protein, moderate carb, moderate fat. So that's pretty much it. The other thing is when to eat. And you want to eat during the daylight. So this is gets into our circadian clock, our circadian rhythm. It's important to eat and get a little sunlight, wake up and eat when the sun is out. And then when the sun goes down, it's important to put down the fork, not eat as much, and actually get some rest at night. That's a great idea. You guys should sleep at night. I highly recommend sleeping at night and then waking up in the daytime, working, exercising, and eating. So if you just do that as simple as it is, breakfast, high protein, high fat, carbs just depending on activity, lunch, protein, fat, carbs, again, depending the carb level, depending on the activity level, and then dinner, protein, carbs, fat, depending on the activity level. And then you stop eating, consume no calories or alcohol or anything else once the sun goes down. And as simple as that is, that really works. Going into a little more detail, some other good things to eat. I'm going to just list them. Green vegetables, spinach, kale, broccoli, anything green, leafy vegetables. I know they're not the fun, cool thing to eat, but you should eat that as often as you can. You can have some raw, you can have some cooked. All vegetables, every kind of vegetable. You want to eat a diversity of vegetables, different colors, different that grow in different parts of the world that have different vitamin and mineral content. Beans are a good thing to eat. Make sure if you're taking them from dry beans, make sure you soak them. Beans are a great way to get carbohydrates. Fiber is very important as well, and they have some protein, some amino acids in there. So beans, vegetables, of course I've already talked about protein, and that just depends on how you like to get it. Fish is a good way to get some protein. If you're a vegan, you may have to manage your variety of you might use some different nuts as well as like beans and rice, as well as maybe some protein supplements like vegan protein supplements. I think if you're very active as a vegan, I think a little extra protein is never hurt you. I think there's one for vegans called Vega Protein. I think that one has a pretty good amount. Actually, I've used that as well. And so what do we got? What else is a good thing? Nuts, dry roasted nuts. So that's almonds, cashews, really anything, any of those that you like, and try to eat a diversity of those as well. And of course, the a typical day for me, I'll kind of give a little bit of just a brief one. So a typical day, if I was eating everything perfect that day, a typical day would be, say I wake up at 7 a.m., get organized for the day, get some breakfast, and that breakfast for me would consist of a few eggs, as well as eggs, cheese, some breakfast sausage, and I usually make a taco out of that. So that's what I have for breakfast. If you're trying to lose more weight, then you might want to skip the tacos and just have the eggs and bacon or sausage or whatever you like. Then for lunch, I'm gonna have that breakfast filled me up so good. I actually did it today, and I haven't been hungry since breakfast, but I'm gonna make myself eat a little bit of lunch, and that is going to be a spinach salad, which I got from Kroger for a few dollars, and it's going to be some sardines. So I'm gonna have a small amount of sardines. Sardines are important little thing because they have omega-3s. So as a vegan, that's something that you may want to watch out for if you are a vegan or a vegetarian. You want to just make sure that you're finding a way to get your omega-3s in, as well as B12. And for dinner, I will have, today I'm going to have Chipotle. I'm going to have a bowl with chicken, beans, and rice. They put in some little vegetables and a little guacamole. And then I'm done eating. So that's coming up pretty soon here. So that's a pretty simple example. And the benefits of getting your main meals, trying to eat a variety of vegetables and other plants, is again, they have different vitamins and minerals. So the different ones you eat, you get the different vitamins and minerals. It's fine to take a multivitamin, but that's not like a multivitamin is not the same thing as actually eating fruits and vegetables. So you need to eat your fruits and vegetables, and once you've done that, it's fine to take a multivitamin. That's what I do. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. A little detail on circadian clock, and there's tons of research you guys can Google if you want to really get into the details, or I can go more into it, but basically it's important to, again, eat when the sun is out. Your eyes and your liver are two of the main drivers of your circadian clock. So it's important that when you're awake, you want to work, you want to be active. When you're asleep, you want to be resting. So it's a big portion that you want. Not only do you want your muscles and your eyes resting and all that stuff that happens when we sleep, but you also want your liver resting when you sleep. So that's why we don't want to eat or drink calories close to bedtime, trying to get at least 2, 4, or 5 hours, 3, 4 hours, let's say, before bed that you finish eating, so you have time to break that down and then get some good rest. Most of the people that I've talked to that have tried this, in addition to myself, they find they sleep better without a full stomach or as much food in the stomach. So you're basically coordinating your light and your food at the same time. I think a good way to think about it is we don't want to go through the day groggy or half awake or lethargic. So we want to be, how do I say it? When we're on, we want to be on and going for it, right? So we're up, we're exercising, we're working, we're eating, we're taking care of the kids, whatever it is that comes our way, we're dealing with it, we're active. And then as the evening comes down, we need to make as much effort as we can to get to bed. So that's pretty much the thing. We want to be resting and less active in the night when it's dark, and you want to get as much of a good night's sleep as you can. And don't worry if you go to bed early. All that happens when you get to your enough sleep, you'll wake up early. So you never have to worry about going to bed too early. The big thing is going to bed too late or eating too late. And if you do that, you'll pretty much sync up those clocks, which is what you want. You want to be up and at it in the daytime, and then you want to stop eating, stop doing, of course, drinking caffeine or alcohol. You don't want to do that either. You just want to get in there and get some rest at night as best you can. One last tip for people that, if people are getting too amped up, if you're exercising, right? We're doing jiu-jitsu, of course, here. We're training at the school. And some people, myself at times included, sometimes we find that, man, I get so, I trained really hard. I had a great training, but I feel a little bit excited or wound up from training. And there's a couple of great tips that you can do. So one, the simplest thing you can do at home would be to do a contrast shower, and that's put it as warm as you can for a minute or so, or whatever you feel, and then switch it and put it as cold as you can. And you always want to finish with the cold. It seems counterintuitive, but the cold will actually help lower your core temperature before bed, and that's a big part of recovery and sleeping well also. So after training, a good way to do it would be stretch out. It's going to help you calm down a little bit, hopefully. Do some deep breathing while you stretch, and you just have to be disciplined. When you're done training, you go for a few minutes, stretch, do some deep breaths, go home, take a hot shower, cold shower, do that as many cycles as you feel up to, and then finish with cold on the hot shower, cold shower contrast. Because one of the things that we like to do is, if we can even go further, you may not be able to do this every night, but we like to also go to the sauna and get the same effect. So we'll go in a hot sauna, and that will be, we're sweating, it really helps lower that stress level, and then get a cold shower right after. And if you're finding that you're staying up too late, or you're feeling too energetic after training, that could be a good little bonus tip here to help you relax. Hot, cold contrast, finish with cold, or if you can go to the sauna, then it's hot, cold again, finish with cold. And do some little gentle stretching and breathe while you go through that activity. I think that will help you relax quite a bit if you're getting too amped up. All right, so this is, I promise, short, and I'm sure this is not short enough for some people, and I'm sure it's not short enough for some people. But hopefully you gain some value out of it, and I'm going to post it on YouTube, getting up about 17 minutes, 18 minutes, and I'll also post the podcast. Thanks again for listening. And please comment, let me know, like, whatever the hell you want to hear. If you let me know it's something that could help you, I will do my best to give you that answer. If it's something that I know about or have experience with, I can do it right off the top. And if it's something that I don't know, then maybe I'll find out, or I'll bring somebody else on this podcast, and we'll talk with them. We'll talk with somebody who is an expert in that I don't know, and we can all learn something. And I think that's awesome. Learning is a big passion of mine. Okay, guys, until next time.